Sir, Krishna Baban sir, mic to off ase neki?
Take much time to speak. Hello.
Okay, go on.
Hello.
Audible. Yeah, you are audible.
Yes. It is needless to introduce Professor Pradeep Kumar Patra sir with the teachers, students, scholars, academicians, as well as those who are involved with academical activities. It would take much time to speak about Professor Pradeep Kumar Patra sir. Respected Patra sir, who was born in Balasore of Odisha, has been the head of the Department of English in Boroland University since 2019. He also acted as a vice chancellor in charge for some time. He has published many books of poems in English, such as Panoramic Shillong, The Winting Pot, Midnight Divinity, Dewy Morning, The Rain Speaks, etc. etc. Almost 11 articles have been written on the poetry of Professor Patra sir. He was awarded PhD and DLit in English by Utkal University, Bhubaneswar. He was also awarded the Michael Madhusudan Award for his contribution to literature for the year 2003 by Michael Madhusudan Academy. Now I would like to request Professor Pradeep Kumar Patra sir to deliver the inaugural speech because all are eagerly waiting to listen his glorious speech. Now over to Professor Pradeep Kumar Patra sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
yes, sir.
Okay. It's very nice.
Hello, Patra sir.
Yes, Patra sir. Patra sir. Sir,
Hi.
check Patra sir.
Patra sir, audio is video also not coming. I think he is facing some internet issue. I think. Hello, sir.
Patra sir.
Hello.
No, Patra sir. Hello, Patra sir. Is facing some problem.
Hello, Patro sir.
Do you hear?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, go on, sir.
Okay, we'll start.
Yes, sir.
So it's very nice to meet all of you, and it's a pleasure for me to join in such kind of around.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
What do you put?
Hello, Principal sir. I think Patro sir facing some internet issues. We can move on.
Yes. Yes, yes. Just wait for 30 seconds, huh? Patro sir. So Patro sir is facing some problem, I think. Hero,
Yes, sir.
Patro sir is facing some problem.
Yes. He is facing some internet problem. So we can move on for.
Resource person, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably there is a bad connection. Sorry for that. We'll proceed to the next program without our inaugural speech. So next, I am going to introduce our research person, Dr. Astor Choudhury sir, who brought a revolution in learning mathematics in America. His educational journey from Mojali High School via Delhi University to Iowa State University, USA, is truly inspiring for us. Dr. Choudhury sir secured the sixth position in HSLC examination and studied in Cotton College, now Cotton University. After Cotton College, he moved to Delhi University for studying physics. After his graduation and post-graduation, he worked as a senior scientist in Intel for 10 years. He has been awarded PhD by Iowa State University, USA. One another shocking information about Dr. Choudhury sir is that he holds 13 patents in his name covering microprocessor technology and mobile technology. He is the founder and CEO of Paper Academy USA, and he is also the president of Petu.com website. Not only America, but also other countries like Australia, New Zealand have been benefited by this Petu.com website. It is expected that very soon the courses of learning mathematics will be available in India and Assam. Now I would like to request Dr. Astor Choudhury sir to deliver his speech. Now over to Dr. Choudhury sir.
Hello, everyone. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I like to speak when I'm standing, so I'll just move the laptop here. I don't like speaking when I'm sitting. So give me 1 second. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are
Okay.
visible and audible.
Okay. So first of all, hello, and thank you, Dr. Roy and respected professors, for inviting me to this webinar and for giving me the opportunity to talk to your students mainly. I don't know how many students are there, but I'm assuming there are few students at least. So the topic for today is the opportunity in higher education post-COVID. So you have the word post-COVID, right? But the opportunity and changes that coming to our life, coming to our students' life, this was inevitable. Whether we had COVID or no COVID, the changes and opportunities that we are going to see in the next few years are going to come anyway. What COVID has done, COVID has make it faster, okay? Because of COVID, things are happening faster than it was anticipated before. So if you think about this change, what is changing? I'll try to give you a historical idea about change, education, learning, teaching, all this kind of thing. So if you think about change, how things are changing with time and with civilization. Think about human being. Think about me or you. For 100,000 years, that means 1 lakh year, human brain has been exactly same. My brain, the way I think, the way you think, and the person from 100,000 years back, 1 lakh years back, our brains were exactly same. It did not change. Evolution-wise, it's exactly the same brain. But if you think carefully, what happened 100,000 years back? The thing that happened at that time is human started controlling fire. Okay, that's the time. It's probably started long time back, but that's the time when civilization started. From that point, it took 90 years. Then human invented wheel, the wheel we use. Okay, that was 3,500 BC around. And from that point, to invent a car, the first car was invented in 1875 around. I might be wrong, but around that time frame. It took 5,000 years. Think about it. Fire to wheel, 90,000 years. Wheel to car, that's about 5,000 years. And in the next 30 years, after the car was invented, in 1903, humans made a machine that can fly. So you see the speed, 90 years, fire to wheel, 5,000 years, wheel to car, 30 years from car to airplane. So the speed of change is changing. In the last 15 or 20 years, the way things are changing is incredible. And that incredible thing happened because of computer, the laptop that we are using right now. So computers came to our life in about late 80s and 90, personal computer, okay? And with computer came the power of internet. Internet, the way we know internet today, that kind of internet we started getting when 2000, after 2000, okay? And first iPhone, first smartphone that came to market is 2007. From 2007 to 2020, in the last 13 years, that little device has revolutionized everything. All the opportunities, all the challenges, whatever a student can do in the next 4 or 5 years, it's all tied up to that tiny smartphone, this tiny device, nothing else. This has all the powers, everything we need, it's here. So this thing, because of the internet connections and the smartphone, what we have in 13 years, that's something that was impossible just 2 years back, we are experiencing is right now. We are talking to each other, we are communicating. I am in a house 20,000 miles from you guys. You guys are sitting in a house 20,000 miles from here, and we are talking live. Think about it for a second. What has happened in the last 5 years? A person sitting in US and a person sitting in Nalbari or Pachala is communicating live. So this revolution is communication, revolution of information that we have today. That is changing very rapidly, and that will be the heart of all the opportunities. A student, a teacher, anybody, or a professional, anybody that's going to have whatever they are going to have, it's all tied up to this communication. So you got a rough idea how fast things are changing. But actually, what is changing for a common man like you and me? Okay, there are engineers, there are scientists, people are doing a lot of stuff. But what is actually changing for us, for you, for me, for a student? What is changing for us is the communication. Everything, any scientific involvement, every scientific research, all the technological research that engineering stuff that you get, the end result is faster communication. How communication is improving. Okay, from car, you used to use horses or some kind of animals to communicate, go from one place to another place. That's communication. Then came the car. Okay, we could do the same thing faster. Then came the aeroplane. Okay, now we can go from one continent to the other continent. Things are changing. Now came the internet, instant. I can communicate with you instantly. Communication means sharing. Okay, I can share my desktop with you guys with this app right now, and I can show whatever I have in my computer. You can show me everything, whatever you have in your computer. So at the heart of all this technological change, it's the communication, how we communicate, how we share things. That's what is changing. Now I have a question for you. The question is, what is learning and what is teaching? At the heart of learning and teaching, what is it? Learning and teaching is nothing but a very effective communication between two people, a teacher and a student, right? It's nothing but effective communication. One person is communicating with the other person with a specific topic. So if so much is changing in communication, if so much technology is coming to communication, the way we teach, the way we learn must change, must take advantage of these things. We'll talk about it a little bit. But I'm giving you a perspective. What is changing and why learning and education in general is changing. So, next question is, that's the topic of today. It's education, right? First of all, let's talk about what is education. We talk about education, okay? What is actually education? Education is training. You guys are all professors and teachers. You train young minds for the future. Education is nothing but training, a process that trains a young person so that that person can go out of the college and make a beautiful future. This training process is education. Training process is always tied up to what's out there, what's outside an educational institute, a college or any university, right? So if there are change happening outside the college, outside the university, the way things, the technology is coming in, kind of skill set a student will need to survive in that world, that means this training process will have to change. We cannot train students using method that is 50 years back and expect that they are going to be ready for a this training process. This training. Can you hear?
Yes, we are here.
Yes.
So this training process, the skill set development process will have to change based on what is changing outside. Okay. So here, let me tell you something that you might find interesting. So in US became the strongest country in the world in about after World War II, 1960, 1970. That's when the maximum development happened, based on manufacturing power. Okay, US was manufacturing everything, almost 70% and 80% of what's needed in the world, and mainly steel and heavy metals and all this kind of thing. And people were very rich at that time just by doing manufacturing. So the parents who were working like 65, 70, parents of our parents' age, okay, who are like 70, 80 years old now, that generation of people, they thought that education is not very important. You don't have to know a lot of mathematics or science. You just have to need little bit of mathematics, little bit of science, and a lot of skill how you can work with metals, right? So that was the mindset in 65, in 60s and 70s. So that's how they were bringing up their kids. Not too much attention to education, the traditional education, They were teaching them how to build things, okay? And then came the 80s and 90s. 80s and 90s, the world, everything changed. The manufacturing slowly moved out of US to China because world's population was increasing. A lot of things needed. You need to make things in a very cheap way. And China has a lot of people. So the manufacturing slowly moved out from US to China. So then came the computers. The computers started, and especially the banking and finance sector, computers just took over. It has to. If you think about it, State Bank of India, let's say. How many accounts are there? 50 crore, 40 crore account? If humans will have to manage those accounts, it's impossible. A computer can manage it right away. So computers took over the finance sector. And right about late 90s, 96, 97, 98, that kind of time frame, all these big companies, they realized we have a problem with the computer. The problem is every year the date changes. It becomes 96 to 97, 97 to 98, 98 to 99, right? Now, what happens after 99? It becomes 2000. But the way computer was programmed, or all the languages, the engineers use the language, they change only the last two digits, 96 to 97, 89 to 90, that kind of change. So 99 to 2000, what will happen? Will it become 1900 or it will become 2000? So that's a problem. And suddenly in US, especially in US, they realize that we need a lot of engineers. We need software engineers, but we don't have them. Why? Because in 1960s or in 70s or 80s, people did not pay a lot of attention to education, this traditional education. Suddenly they realized we need people who knows mathematics. We need science, engineers. And they looked around, where can we find all these people? They thought that, okay, we can find it in India. That's how the Indian software companies came. This whole problem was called Y2K. The reason I gave you this long lecture is that the skill set based on what US became the strongest country in the world, manufacturing power. Within 10 years, that skill set was completely useless. When the computers came in, this country was in a big problem. They could not solve this problem. The only way they could solve this problem by hiring people from India or from China, where people were learning traditional way. So you can see that within 10 years, within 15 years, the skill set completely changed. The same way, the required skill set, the skill set as students will have to have, the skill set as teachers will have to have, is changing very fast. And you or I, everybody, will have to have the same pace with that change. That is the rough idea of what's going on. Now, everybody is saying that with technology, things are changing. Technology is changing, but if you are sitting in Pachala, if you are sitting in Nalbari, if you are sitting in Dhaka, what is changing for a common man? Is there anything? Do you see anything that's changing around you? Something fundamentally changing, though. I ask you a question today, right now. Play the song. There's the latest movie. What was that? Sushant Singh's movie that just came out. What is the name of that movie? Dil Bechara. That movie came out just 2-3 weeks back, right? I ask you, let's say I ask you, okay, play a song from that movie. What will you do? In 1 second, you will play that song from your smartphone, right? I ask you to play a song from 1975, Sholay, okay, Ye Dosti song. Okay. You will play it right away. I ask you, let's say you go to Guwahati and you are in Pan Bajar. You want to go to Janata Bhavan. You need the directions. What will happen? If you go out and ask somebody, an old person, 70 years old person, that person will say, go right, go left, take this bus, do that. You can find Janata Bhavan that way. But will you do that today? You will just take out your phone, punch in Janata Bhavan, you have exact location, direction, traffic information, everything on your hand, in your hand, okay? You want to know, like, what is article number 370? Indian Constitution. You have it right in front of you. So this, or you guys are all English major guys, right? You want to know, you want to listen to the greatest talk on Shakespeare given in, say, Cambridge University. You can find a whole lecture. There are actually 100 and some lectures from Cambridge, 100 and some lectures from Harvard, and all these top universities. And where are they? It's in your pocket right now, all of this. This is the change of availability of resource. How you can access the resources, how much resource you have in your pocket with you all the time, that changed. The way you were, when we were growing up, you guys were growing up, just 20 years back, 25 years back, the resources were books. Whatever books you can get in a bookstore, that was the resource. But that thing is gone. Resources everywhere. Resources in your pocket. Entire world's resource. If I say this word, it's not wrong. In your smartphone, in this tiny device, you have entire world's knowledge. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, but you have it. Entire thing. So this is the change. This is the main change. When you say post-COVID opportunity, this is what we need to talk about. How can you take advantage of all these resources that you have? Okay? So now, before any technique, when you change something fundamentally, there is another thing that needs to change in my mind, in my opinion. That thing is mindset, how we think. That's fundamental. Before we change our mindset, nothing can change. Excuse me. So in this new world of information, how does the mindset, what happens to the mindset? What I'm talking about, what is mindset? Okay, let's talk about something a little bit different than the topic. Talent. Okay, we say that this person is very talented, that person is not talented. So what is talent? Is a person born talented? Somebody is born today, somebody was born 30 years back, 50 years back. Is this person born talented, or its talent is acquired? Okay, with time, with practice, with training, with education, that person grows the talent. Which one is true? This topic, whether talent is inborn thing or it's an acquired thing, it's a topic of research, of intense research for the last 30, 40 years. Okay, and so the research, the scientists, psychologists, brain scientists, they found out, and it's a very, very strong research at this point. What they found out is talent is overrated. Talent is not an inborn thing. Talent is something that we acquire. We train ourselves to be talented. Okay, let's talk about something. Let's talk about myself for a second. So when I was 14, 15 years old, I was prepping for my class 10 exam, right? Everybody was saying that I will do good in class 10, okay, which I did. And then when the result came, let's say there is another guy who is the son of a farmer, just a few kilometers from Pachala. And that person did not do very well. And after results, what everybody is saying, look at this guy, look at Bhaskar, he's so talented. He did so good. And look at this guy, he's not talented. But is that true? Am I really talented, or I got some advantage over him? Now think about his situation as my situation for a second. My father was a teacher. I was living in Pachala. We are not rich, but we are not poor either. He gets up at 5 o'clock. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He goes to the field to work. And what I do, I study. Before going to school, I study 4 hours. And before going to school, he works in the field for 4 hours. I come back from school, what happens? I study. And what he does, he goes to the field and work. In Pachala is a very educational city, right? Town. We had a lot of bookstores. I had access to every bookstore. Not only access, that my father actually went and talked to them, that I can go to any bookstore and I can get any book I want. And this bookstore, these people, actually some of them were so nice. They will give me a book and says, read this book for a couple of hours here in the store. And if you like it, you take it. Otherwise, you don't. I was in Pachala. Within 2-3 kilometers, all the teachers lived. Any question I had, I can just go and ask them. But that farmer's son, did he have all these things? Nothing, right? So am I talented, or I got some advantage over him to start with? I think the second one. The thing is, it's exactly same. We both were exactly same. The only reason I did good results, I had good results, is because I got advantage that he did not. And what is that advantage? That advantage was resource. Books, access to teachers. Anything I wanted, any kind of books, any kind of teachers I wanted, I could go and ask them. I had access to everything. That person did not. And in this new world, the way we are talking about for the last 15, 20 minutes, what you have? You have all the resources. You have all your resources in your smartphone, in your computer. What just happened? The advantage I had, the access to the resources, that advantage is gone. Suddenly a student, doesn't matter where he is living, Pathshala, Nalbari, Guwahati, or a student living in Mumbai, Guwahati, or Mumbai, Delhi, or New York, you have exactly the same resource in front of you. So, in our mindset, that's why I'm saying that mindset has to change. Every student, every teacher, you guys especially, I think most of you are professors here. It's your duty, it's your job to tell your students that all the negative points that you had before, that we don't have resource, that thing is gone. And if you have all the resources, and the best news in the last 30 years is, oh, okay. My voice echoed, so I thought someone else is talking. So what I was talking is, if talented persons are not inborn, talent is nothing but you acquire with resources, and you have all the resources that's needed. That means you can achieve anything and everything. That's the message every student needs to get. As a teacher, as a professor, or if students, if you are listening to me, you should talk to yourself and say that I have every resource that's possible, and there is nothing that can stop me. That's the first mindset that needs to change. Now, let's talk about the opportunities, okay? Because that's the main topic, kind of main topic, because I think I'm going everywhere. So the opportunities let's talk about opportunities in learning and research. First, higher education. All your students are already in college or university, so they are already getting higher education. The next step of higher education will be either research or learn something else. So let's talk about research. How we do research. If you are professors, some of you have already doctorate degree, some of you are working on doctorate degree, but in general, you are professors. So you are open to research ideas. So when you do research, what is the first step of doing research? The first step is find a topic. On what topic you are going to do research, right? That's the first step. Very first step is to find out that I'm going to work on something that no one has worked on. That's the research, right? Research. So 2 years back, 3 years back, just 5 years back, let's say, you want to do a research on Shakespeare, or who is there? Who else is a famous writer? Let's say Jane Austen or somebody. You want to do a research on her. You have to find out. There are so many research papers. I'll have to find a topic that no one has worked on. Then otherwise there is no point doing research, right? But how do you know what topic to choose from? You go to Guwahati University, you go to Dibrugarh University, you go to the library, you try to find out. But the work that was done in last 2 months is not there. That's the work you are most interested in. Who is working on what? Now, if you do a simple Google search, right now, right after this meeting, you can try it. Who is working on this author, this writer? Who is working on history of the, I don't know, Ahom era, maybe not. Who is working on Mughals Empire? Who is working on Chola dynasty? Who is working on Shakespeare? Who is working on this writer and that writer? You will see that you will find out each and every topic. that people are working on. Not only you will find the topics, you will actually find all the published work. So doing research, starting a research becomes so easy now. You can find your topic right away. You just have to find out your interest, and finding out a topic is extremely simple because you have the power, you have the resources, you have all the information that needed. Next point is there are experts. There are always experts, right? You find any field, there is one guy who is considered God. Cricket, it's Sachin Tendulkar. Something else, it's someone else. Even in academics, there is one person who is extremely knowledgeable. And you know, probably, let's say in your field, there is a person who is extremely knowledgeable who is in Delhi IIT, okay? Or in Oxford. Now, before, just a few years back, it was impossible to contact that person. There is no way you can talk to that person. But today, you have full access to that person. Not only you can email him, you can talk to him. You can talk to him live, just like today, if that person agrees. Meaning you have access to all the experts in the world. Third thing is that, suppose you have an idea, you know something groundbreaking. What will you do with that idea? You can talk to your family. Pretty much that's it, or to your colleagues. Who else will know about it? Nobody. But today, just with WhatsApp and Facebook, your idea can spread to thousands of people within hours. That's a good thing, that's a bad thing. That's why we have so many fake news and so many so-called very knowledgeable persons, right? Everybody has their opinion. But thing is, at the end of the day, you have all the tools to spread your ideas. You can talk to people directly. This is brand new thing. This is just starting to happen now. Think about what will happen 5 years from now. So this is the research part, but the main part is the learning, student-teacher thing, right? That's the main job. So learning, what's happening with learning? The same kind of thing. Now your student, don't feel bad about it. Your student can learn from the experts. They don't have to learn from you. They can learn from whoever they want to, because that person's resource is available. The best experts, the videos, the learning lessons, the talks, everything is available, right? So the students can learn from the experts. You can be that expert. If you are the expert, then student from Anand, now you are Pankaj Roy, Dr. Roy is in Nalbari College. He's excellent. Now somebody wants to hear his lectures from Dibrugarh. That person can. If he makes bunch of YouTube videos and publish it, anyone in the world can hear him. So this learning experience, and one big thing that is happening, it's learning is not limited to one subject anymore. A person can learn anything and everything they want. If you are an English honors student and you think, okay, I want to learn physics, you can do that. After this video, after this talk is done, you search on Google, physics for beginners. Just search that and you will see that there will probably 1,000 lessons out there. That's for people who doesn't know physics but wants to know. And if I want to know English literature, if I search, okay, the basics of English literatures, it will give me a chronological order, top best 10 authors, their work, their life, everything. So my knowledge is not limited. That's a good thing. That's a different kind of thing. A student's resources is limitless. That brings opportunity, that brings challenge. Opportunity is any student from any background can go to any field. That's the opportunity. And challenge is, even if you're working so hard in your own field, there could be another guy from another department who can apply for the same thing. So these opportunities, the availability of resources, it's giving tremendous opportunity to learn anything and everything. That's one thing. Now, what will be the role of a teacher? If student has access to everything, if students can learn from the greatest teacher from around the world, what will be your role? The traditional way of teaching and learning will have to change a little bit. You guys should think about it, because you are teaching, and it's the time that that uh, that your approach will have to change a little bit. So far, teachers are teachers. Teachers teaches, right? Everything you do, it's like strategic thing. The strategy is you get a guide from universities or from a board. You go chapter 1, chapter 2, topic 1, topic 2, that kind of thing. But your job role will change a little bit in next 4 or 5 years. If you want to be the best teacher, your job role will become a visionary. You will not only have to teach your students what they have to know on the core subjects. On top of that, you will have to be able to give them ideas what is out there. Suppose one of your English major student come to you tomorrow and says that I don't want to be in English. I want to work for an engineering company. I want to work for Infosys. What do I do? That information is out there. That person might not know. But as a teacher, you should be able to guide that guy. You will be a guide more than a teacher. I can tell you one thing. All these companies, all these big companies, they are looking for literature people. They're hungry for people with arts background. Because all the people they have are engineers. And engineering people, we cannot talk that much. They need people who can write and speak well. So one of my friends, that was actually a long time back, 15 years back maybe. So he was looking for a job. And Apple, the company who makes iPhone, he got an interview call. He had a little bit of science background, not extreme amount of science background, but he had science background. So he went for the job interview. He got a call. He went for the job interview. And when he was waiting, he realized that for the same job, a lot of people with strong engineering background came. So he was thinking it's a pointless thing. I'm not going to get this job. So when he gave the interview, when he was in the middle of the interview, the main interviewer, the person, asked him, what else you do other than engineering and science? And he said, I make music. I make my own music. And he was the person they hired. And they asked, why did you hire me? He said, engineering, everybody is doing engineering. But how many people has this extra knowledge of art? So that's how companies hire these days. They want to see a person. Do they know anything extra? And 5 years back, it was very difficult to have a knowledge of something else other than your core subjects. But now you have the opportunity, and you are the guide for that. You can do a good research. How the economy is changing, what kind of companies are coming up in Bangalore or in Mumbai, and what kind of background is my students will have to have so that they can have a successful future in those places. So that's how things are changing. These are opportunities. Only thing you will have to do is grab those opportunities by making yourself ready, by getting a good training, good education, so that you have your skills. Okay? So all good things come with challenges too. It's not a one-way highway, right? It's a two-way highway. You have so much of good things going. What's coming the opposite way? What's the challenges? The challenge, number one challenge for a country like ours, or especially in Assam, internet connectivity. That's a big problem. You just saw it, right? We could not hear Dr. Patrasar. It's the internet connectivity. That's the problem. In last 4 or 5 years, that had changed tremendously. Every time I went to India 2019, I was supposed to go this time of the year, but because of the COVID, I could not. What happened in last 4 or 5 years? Almost everybody has internet connectivity. Everyone, even in small villages.
Yeah.
But in few places, we still have this problem. This is a problem that's temporary problem. Okay, it's still expensive, but I think in the next 2-3 years, the problem of internet connection will go away. In fact, I'll be very happy. Education is a right. That's what the government of India says, right? Or any government says that education is a birthright. There will be days in next 4 or 5 years when the government policy will say that internet is a birthright. We're just waiting for that. That's one problem. That's a practical problem. I think that will go away in next few years. The other problem, which is not going to go away, and that's where you need to be careful about, it's the information overload. If you search on YouTube or in Google, anything you search, you will see there are 10,000 videos, 10,000 learning document. Which one is good? Which one to pick? Which one will help me most, right? It's extremely difficult. If you have 10,000 things, right now you follow one book, but you are thinking about learning something new and you have 10,000 things in front of you. Which one is the best one? So this is called information overload. And this information overload, how to navigate there, how to find out the right resource, that will be your job. We'll talk about it briefly in the next section. So these are some of the challenges that your students or you will face. But the thing is, whenever you have challenges, there are two ways to think, right? You can think about, all right, this topic, there are 10,000 things. My goodness, I cannot do it. Or you can say, there are 10,000 topics. So good, I can find the best one. That means it's exactly the same thing. This way you think, that's different, right? So what are the small steps that you can take to overcome all these challenges and make sure that you are getting maximum out of all the opportunities? The first thing that you can do in my mind is in your teaching ideas and from students. The thing that will make you a conqueror, you can go and conquer everything, is teamwork. Teamwork will be the key. You can work individually and you can go up to a certain level. But the problem with that is that you're just working alone. If you are working in a team, things will change very fast. So what you can do, what you can guide your students is that you can make small groups of students. You take this chapter, topic 1, group 1, 4 or 5 students, topic 2, group 2, topic 3, group 3. So divide your students into small groups, assign every topic to one group and ask them, now your job in the next 1 week or 2 weeks, just go to Google, go to YouTube, go to internet and find out all the resources. Look at those resources and the one you find is good, list it, write it down. You just have to write down the URL, copy and paste, right? And at the end of the week, you make a discussion forum. Ask them to present, okay? Now, one group is working on one topic, another group is working on another topic. You decide which resources are going to be the best. The hard work is done by the students, and in the process, they are learning. And what will happen? If you continue with these small groups, within 2 or 3 months, it's not going to take years. It's going to take probably 2 or 3 months. Within 2 or 3 months, you will have the biggest digital library of resources in your college, in your department. Thousands and thousands of video links, thousands and thousands of word link, PDF, whatever you want. You will have all the resources in one document. That's the best thing that could happen, right? If you have everything in one place. Now, you can make a website of your department. You can make a website of your college, which is very simple these days, and place everything there. It's a one-time investment, but that will go very, very, very long way. Next year, you do exactly the same thing because every year the informations are changing. So you ask the other groups, okay, now this group, you find the best resources and you keep updating that. These are the simple step of teamwork. This is how teamworks work. Any big company you talk about, this is how they work. Any big organizations you talk about, this is the heart. Divide and conquer. It's in a good way, not the British way. It's very in a good way. You divide your big task into small things. Assign those small things to small groups. Now collaborate, okay? From your side, from teacher side, you don't have to teach the whole thing anymore. If you want, you can collaborate with another college, another university. Suppose there is a topic where you are extremely good. You teach that part. There is another teacher who teaches another topic very well. You get all the resources from him. Only thing, you need a phone or a video camera. Just record it, put it there, you are done. So this kind of availability and sharing capability that you are going to have or you have, that's the heart of this new world. The ability with which you can change things. Now there is, with all these things comes the flexibility. I suppose the new new education policy that came out a few days back has this thing that a student not tied up to his one subject. A student can do anything. I haven't gone through all the policies that much, so I should not comment on that, but I think it's there. So in the job market, when a student goes out for a job, as I mentioned before, that it's not limited to one subject anymore. A student can apply for any jobs, even if it doesn't fall into his background. This thing works. It sounds like, okay, this is something that might happen, but this thing works. I can tell you with 100% guarantee that works, because I did that. I'll tell you the story. It's about me. Doesn't feel good, but I'll tell you that story. When I was doing my PhD, towards the end of it, I was looking for jobs. I had physics background, but my interest completely changed towards the last year of my PhD time. I got this microprocessor, that's the brain of a computer, that's the brain of your smartphone. I got very interested in that topic, but I had absolute zero knowledge. Only thing I know how to spell computer, pretty much. But I thought that this is the job I need, I want to do. I want to go to Intel, and that's what I want to do. And I had 1 year. So I was thinking, what can I do? And then I probably read something that you can do all this thing. Everything is available at this point. So I did a little research. It's not too much work, exactly the way I was talking about. I just listed everything, who is doing what, in what university, what kind of research going on, who is working on what is coming up in microprocessor technology. I don't understand much, but I just listed them in one place. And what I did, I sent it to Intel, one of the scientists, and said that, okay, this is my background. I have absolute zero background, but this is what I have done in 6 months. Do you think I am a fit person to work in your research organization? And within 7 days, I got the job. So that person hired me not because of my background. He hired me because he saw, okay, this person has all the information. What he has done, he has gone through all the resources and make it easy for me, because he made everything in one place. That's the thing every student can do. I could do that only because I had all the resources available. Nothing else. It's absolutely nothing there. I had the power of internet, and I had a good library and everything. That's the only thing I had. So every student today can do exactly the same thing. They have all the resources. Only thing they will have to do is jump into the resource and find out the right resource and just use it for their benefit. All students, all teachers can do exactly the same thing. So I think my time is up slowly. So of this, I talked for almost 1 hour. So if you have to take one point out of this talk that you can use in your coming next 2 or 3 years, that one word is the third point that I talked about. Talent is overrated. Talent is tied to the resources. If a person has all the right resource, that person can do that a very successful person has been doing. It's all related to resources. So the mindset is the key. The mindset is that I have all the resources. I can use all the resources to get whatever I want. So this is what I have to say. I hope it will help your students a little bit. And again, once again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. If you have any questions, I'm ready.
He has pointed out an important thing, that science is inevitable, whether there is the outbreak of COVID-19 or not. Hello, Hiro, is there any question to Sudhuri sir?
There is no question, sir.
Okay.
There is no question in the chat box.
I cannot hear.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Yes.
There is no question in the chat box.
That's good.
So probably we shall have questions after a few minutes.
Oh, that's
now,
okay. It's completely. I will be online, so I can come back and talk again.
Yes, yes. I have a
Not a
kind
problem
request
at all.
to Dr. Sudhuri sir. If it is possible for you, sir, please join us till the end of the session.
No, I will join you. I will not go out. I will just stay for the whole session.
Thanks,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, I'll just go out for a few minutes, but I am here. I'll just take a bathroom, but I will be here.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Hirabjyoti, is Patra sir available? Hello?
Yes, yes, sir. He is online. Hello, Patto, sir.
I am very much available.
Yes, yes. Thanks. Because of some technical problem, we lost Patra sir's connection. Luckily, he is available now. That is why I would like to request him to deliver his inaugural speech, because we all are waiting for a long time to listen his inaugural speech. Over to Professor Patra sir.
Oh, well,
Okay, thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. We are hearing you. Kindly on your video, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. And I stop that informative, I would say. And because the whole discussion around COVID-19, so I'd like to focus on that. And while talking about that, first of all, I know that, and I know, and everybody knows what actually COVID-19 is. And that actually is a severe acute respiratory syndrome, and that is very much fatal, and that get transmitted in minutes. I hope all of you hear me. And that gets transmitted in minutes, and that may be through droplets, that may be through touching surface metals or whatever it may be. So what is surprising is that it first of all infects the children and old people, and it has a devastating effect, no doubt. So this is what COVID-19 is. So the point is that how we are building up the challenges and opportunities around, and that is keeping higher education in center. So naturally the whole world is vulnerable to the entire disaster. This is a kind of disaster. The whole world is vulnerable to it, and higher education is affected because educational institutions are closed, and it is a problem not only just in a country like India. This is also a problem all over world, specifically more than 188 countries. So this is primarily a respiratory syndrome. This is not that this is the kind of pandemic that came for the first time. Earlier also the world experienced like this. China experienced it in the year 2003, and Hong Kong also experienced it. So after having experienced all this, one thing is sure that we cannot neglect education, we cannot neglect the whole proceeding of the world. We'll have to go ahead. So we'll have to go medically, that is one aspect. We'll have to take care of the medical facilities, that is one aspect. But on the other hand, it is true that we'll have to use technology so that the process of knowledge proliferation can go on. So that means we are opting for online education, online learning, and we upload the study materials, we deliberate, we discuss with the students also, give lectures also, and we have like WebQuest, Google Classroom, and so many other online sites. So this is one side of life, one side of education, or whatever it may be. But on the other hand, we have conservative mindsets. We are not able to accept that immediately. So that is another force. So that is another force which is very conservative in us, that stops us, that refrains us from joining anything that is technical. That goes in favor of students' interest. That goes in favor of the interest of the world as a whole. So then coming to another angle, we have something as medical research. So far as medical science is concerned, we are not that developed, and we are not devoting much time and much resource also in that line. So there is quite a few medical research, and in the medical field, we are not up to that at all. So that is the field related to health science. What are we doing? We are not doing anything that is significant. We are not doing anything significant to face the coming challenges or the future challenges. And the research is very small. That is in this line. So the problem is that how can we counter such kind of pandemic? And we do not have any future vision or plan or anything of that sort. So we have our educational planning, and in our educational planning we go for the health measure. We take up that in the institutions of higher education, and we stick to this process of continual learning. Learning cannot be stopped. Learning should go on, and learning is something that on some pretext or other it will stop. It can never be like that. So we'll have to at the same time prevent the spread of the virus. So that is also very important. And in a larger perspective, we have to talk about the environmental hygiene. So this is in particular, this epidemic is very important. But at the same time, in general, if at all we are speaking, we'll have to address this environmental hygiene. So this is the environmental hygiene. In a country like India, we are not taking that up very seriously. So this is the pandemic that has changed the work of the educational systems now. We are doing things offline. And now we are compelled in a way to do things online. And that will remain so. And in future also, we'll have to explore a lot in the line of technology. And we just cannot stop the proliferation of knowledge. And proliferation of knowledge, as the earlier speaker also said, should go on. So we have to integrate environment and health courses in the curriculum. So that is the whole thing. So, and the curriculum from that angle should be very much responsive, and the curriculum should be responsive towards the world. The curriculum should be responsive towards the present time, and that should be a kind of integration of both. And we'll have to talk about environmental health, because that is the larger template within which these particular issues do come up. It is not just that the science students will address all these things. It is not just that the science students will study all these things. Being in humanities and social science also will have to deal with these things. So this is the subject matter. This is the subject, whether health, hygiene, environmental issues. These are not just for science students. These are also for humanities and social science students. So that is the whole truth, and we cannot bypass this kind of truth. So in one hand, now it is sure that we have our environment, and on the other hand, we have education. We just cannot address education. We'll have to conglomerate both environment, education, both. And we'll have to be environmentally quite literate, and we need certain action, not just in the field of education, but also in society. We need educational action and we need social action. So that is the whole. We'll have to create awareness, not among ourselves, but also outside ourselves, the common public. And we'll have to develop a kind of positive attitude. We'll have to go for educational health practices. Not just we should be concerned with the theories, we should be concerned with educational health practices, and at the same time we are concerned with educational policies. We can tackle so many problems, and environmental health is highly regarded, and that is having to deal with the global pandemic. And we will have to not just focus on the present, whatever we are in present, we will have to focus on future environmental issues at the same time. Now we are talking about environmental hygiene practices, that is very important. and we'll have to deal with the responsiveness also, and we'll have to make the learner also very much sensitive, and at the same time we will have to deal with the societal issues, and we have the health concerns, and we have the environmental uprising, and studying we have certain priorities, and we'll have to look at what actually our priorities are, and we'll have to develop our health management tools. We'll have to practice the way we have been practicing the course during the pandemic time, so that we'll have that it should be part of educational culture. We build up culture because of frequent practice and years of practice. Culture is developed in that way. So we'll have to see that this is the kind of culture that we develop when we are in education. And we'll have to have effective health and environmental policies, and that is very much important. If we have policies, then that is the question of implementation. But otherwise, by having certain programs, we cannot go deep into anything. And we'll have to constantly monitor the whole process. And with policies, we can constantly monitor. With certain programs, sporadic programs, we cannot. And we'll have to constantly monitor. We'll have to constantly monitor the health practices, health protocol, and we'll have to look at ourselves. We'll have to take care of the vicinity, and we'll have to look at beyond anything. We'll have to prioritize. We'll have to prioritize academic career counseling, medical services, and these all should be accessible to the students. And we'll have to do all these things through online. So that is to be there. And at the same time, we'll have to take care of the mental health of the students. It is very important. This is pandemic time. So at this time, quite a large number of students are suffering mentally. So we'll have to take care of their mental health. So in our educational institutions, we should have certain services to monitor that, whether students are mentally well or not. So that is one thing. In educational institutions, we just should not take care of their education. We ought to take care of the mental health of the students. And the students should get significant attention in that line. And we'll have to tackle the increasing number of the mental disorders that we find in our educational institutions. And it's very much sure that we have the virtual services. So that becomes the center of everything at this stage. We have medical counseling, we have teleconferencing, we have mental health teleconferencing from medical staff and from professional health experts and from psychologists. And we ought to have continuous assessment, adequate services for better outcome in future. So this COVID-19 that we see, so in this situation, in a way, we are compelled to formulate a management protocol. So in that management protocol, we have campus medical services, we have awareness measures, and we have things like we'll have to make this in. And at the same time, we are involved with primary care services that is contextualized in the educational institution setting. So these are the things which contribute to academic success or educational success. We need to take care of all these things. So the whole thing is that there is a shift. There is a shift at present because of the pandemic, because of this virus. There is a shifting to online learning, and offline learning is losing its ground gradually. And in future also, we'll have to be prepared more and more for this online kind of learning. And it is a kind of learning from one angle, if we see that it's a learning at our convenience. And with this, we can prevent the virus. We can prevent and control over the spread of this kind of virus. And we can prepare the course for gradually online transfer. So this will be a continuous learning, and we should plan our educational program in such a manner that it should be compatible with online learning, because there is a shift of paradigm. We are shifting from offline to online, and there will be frequent online delivery. And definitely there are certain barriers from the side of the teachers, because teachers were doing all these years everything offline. So to remove the barrier, what is required is that the teachers are to be trained in a phased manner, so that they become expert in the delivery of online knowledge. If that happens, if the trainings are given, and if the trainings are given for the teachers, it can improve the student learning definitely. And there are stakeholders. So when this is the process that we are talking about, and this is the discourse that we are dealing with, so there are stakeholders like government entities, and there are accreditation agencies, and there are stakeholders who will be talking about performance of higher level institutions. And we claim for excellence, we claim for success. So naturally, we'll have to produce the documents to all these stakeholders that this is what we have been doing, and we have to produce the document and prove that this is what we have achieved. That is in the field of higher education, and we'll have to respond to that. By that way, we'll have to respond to the educational, economic, and employment crisis. So the mental health service, as I say, I've been repeating that is very important. That is on the campuses, and we quite know that many of the students are not mentally well, and all over world, even all over India, there are instances of students committing suicide. So we'll have to take care of that. So we'll have to be together, faculty, researchers, and professionals in this line. We have to engage in research and evaluation continuously, and we'll have to have more of a strategic planning, so that we can the problems. So there should be concerned more with campus mental health representatives. We should have campus health representatives or take care of these things. We should have proper health management protocol and tools, and so that educational institution can respond to these problems and the future virus outbreak. Also.
Speaker Bhaskar Chaudhary.
Hello. So there is a global pandemic. So this global pandemic that opened opportunities in a way that we can accelerate the education even much more than before. We can move towards success even much more than before. And this becomes, this COVID-19 becomes a kind of challenge for us. So we'll have to integrate ourselves. We'll have to work in proper co-reality, so that we can upgrade the educational mode of delivery, and we can pay attention to emerging technologies, and we can go on or go ahead with what we call evidence-based education and practices. So that is what I need to say now. I'm very sorry, first of all, that there was network disruption because of which I couldn't talk at my scheduled time. Thank you so much.
For your splendid inaugural speech. Within a few minutes, he has minutely observed the pandemic situation, especially how the COVID-19 has affected the higher education. So, hello, Hiro. You can question to Sudhir. Hello.
Hi, hello, sir.
Yes. If there is any question to Sudhir sir, you are requested to put the question.
There is no question in the chat box. If participant having any question, they can put in the chat box.
No question to Sudhir sir. Let us.
One question I have found to Soduri sir. What asked by Prasad, what is the way of teaching to the blind student during COVID-19 period while the online class are running?
Can you say that again, please?
What is a way of teaching to the blind students during COVID-19 period while the online classes are running?
For blind students, what kind of opportunities they can have?
Yeah.
If the way things are working, there is a good news in that most of the learning lessons or learning resources that is out there today, it's not only visual. Most of them have audios, number one. So if you go to any YouTube videos, anything that any smartphone or any laptop or anything that has an internet connection, most of them can work with voice these days. If you take a phone and if you can ask, hey Google, where is Assam? It's going to tell you a visual, it's going to give you an audio answer. So most of the learning lessons, you can have a audio version of that. On top of that, on top of my mind, next thing is more than videos and audios, you have text-based resources, right? If you go to any website, it's all text pretty much. But if you use, I'll give you one very simple example. The browser where you browse internet. This is called Chrome. Most of the people use a browser called Chrome. That's by Google. That browser has an inbuilt feature that can read the whole thing for you. So of course it's the braille version will not be out. That kind of laptops are out there, but it's not very, it's number one, it's very expensive or not very easily. But audio is extremely available, like it's available everywhere with videos. So that way you can take maybe not 100% advantage, but you will get a good amount of resources available for you guys, if for the blind people.
Sir, one question also.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, one more question.
Yes.
Asked by Arifa Wahid. Sir, what is the role of parents and students as a stakeholder in teacher education or higher education?
Role of parents and students? That's a very good question. The way the traditional parent and student or parent or their children, it's going to stay, it's not going to change. But the thing is, the way things are changing so fast, a lot of parents have problem. What's going on? If you ask me, I have two daughters. One is 12 years old. She knows more than me what's going on in the computer. Like, even if I am a techie person, it's very difficult. So as a parents, I think the traditional role is not going to change. As a parents, our job will be to encourage them, to make sure that they are aware that they have all the resources and they are using it properly. And encouragement goes long way. So a parents, if they can encourage their kids, okay, you want to do that, this is your life's goal, this is what you want to do, then go and find out what needs to be done. And one important thing that parents can always teach their kid is that becoming a little bit independent, meaning that we parents have this tendency that we'll do everything for them. That's not going to help them that much when they grow up. And especially in this digital age, they have to be a little bit independent and have a big role on that. And the way you can do that is that whatever they learn on the day, it's the way you can do it is talk to them as frequently as you can. You can ask them simple questions. Okay, I don't know what's going on these days. Teach me this. And that's one thing that kids love it. They love to teach their parents. So if you constantly ask them questions, whatever you are learning, just talk to me. They will be in a path. They will be in a learning path. So when they are going for higher education, number one is the everybody, whoever is going for higher education, at the end of the day, they are thinking about a good job, right? A good job is everything, pretty much. Whether it's a professor, whether it's a doctor, engineer, some other field, doesn't matter. Business, doesn't matter. So as a parents, our role will have to be that everything and anything has an opportunity these days. Whether you like history or physics or chemistry or English literature or Assamese literature or Bengali literature, it doesn't matter what you are studying. If you are using the resources properly, if you are building up enough skill, there is always an opportunity out there. So that field, that the assurance that they will have something, whatever they are learning, that thing has some value to it. That gives them confidence. So building confidence is the main thing that as parents we can do. Things have changed. If you think about the kids today, they don't go out and play like we did before. Most of the time they play in they play video games, and that probably is not very you guys probably are not facing that problem that much, but we have. And in next 2-3 years you will face that problem too. So our job will be mainly as parents is that build confidence in our children's and assure them that whatever you're learning, whatever you like, you can make a career out of that. I hope that helps. I'm not an expert in parenting, but I hope that helps.
Thank you, sir. Is there any question? Hello?
Yes.
Is there any question more?
No, there is no question.
Yes, yes, thanks. Next, today we have with us one another resource person who is joining us from Bangladesh. I am extremely happy to welcome and introduce Dr. Fahim Hassan Said sir. He is an associate professor and researcher at Prague Institute of Languages, Prague University. He teaches linguistics and English courses both at the master's and undergraduate programs at BU. He also supervises and coordinates ELT research activities of the faculty members of BU. He is also a regular reviewer of several national and international research journals. He is a life member of the Asiatic Society of Bangladesh and the Bangla Academy. He has been awarded both MPhil and PhD by Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Now he will share with us his findings on the challenges and opportunities in higher education, especially after the outbreak of global pandemic. Over to Dr. Fahim Hassan Soid sir. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam.
Thank you so much. Walaikum assalam. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. 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 Yes. I actually wholeheartedly thank all of you to actually invite me for this very wonderful session which is going on, and I was very happy to listen to our two very prolific personalities who spoke from the beginning. So, interestingly, I would like to start my lecture with a very important word, what Dr. Bhaskar Chaudhary had actually said. He actually referred to the talent, human talent, which is tied to the resources. He actually highlighted this thing, that advantages, opportunities, and resources make a talent go further. And therefore, he highlighted a very important point that mindset is the key. And then he came up with a very interesting observation that companies are now looking for people of humanities background. So, in this connection, I want to share one interesting thing in the beginning. I can resist myself. One person, his name is Mr. Abu Said Khan. He is the topmost telecom expert in Bangladesh, internationally renowned, and half of the year he spends his time abroad. He has visited almost all the countries. So any telecom kind of problems whichever crops up in Bangladesh, he is the man to look after. Now, what is his academic career? His academic career is he is a BA honors in Bengali literature. That's it. In Bengali literature, he completed his BA honors, but then he diverted his professional career into telecom. Why? Because of his mindset and interest level. And he actually told me later on that his humanities background has helped him to become more creative in solving a lot of issues in the professional field, which a normal telecom engineer would not have been able to do. So that's what I actually thank Dr. Bhaskar Chaudhary for raising this very important issue, that you can be anything, you can actually take up a lot of challenges. It all depends on your mindset. And this pandemic era, post-pandemic era, probably has given us a big chance to work with our mindset. That's what I want to tell. And then Professor Pradeep Patro, he has actually highlighted the importance of a very holistic view, inclusive educational culture development. That means not only typical education, environment, health issues, mental health issues should also be a part of our educational practice. And he actually came to the significant observation, to enter into that arena of holistic view, we have to first enter into this shift our paradigm. That means from the offline classes to the online classes. That is the starting point. And as regards Bangladeshi experience, I would like to highlight these challenges and opportunities mainly that we in Bangladesh are facing right now. So, this global pandemic has actually brought some significant changes in our lifestyle. It has resulted in the educational institutions all over the world to shut down. And globally, if I am not wrong, 1.5 billion students are now out of the classroom. So they have to be brought in the classroom, and the only way is online education. And therefore, education has dramatically changed with distinctive rise of e-learning, where teaching is undertaken remotely on digital platforms. Now, obviously, I have seen some of the comments, which is also true in Bangladesh as well. Here, some participants say that in the remote areas, it's still a very big challenge to become digital. And from my experience, when I take online classes, almost 30% of my students don't have the proper connectivity to join the classes on time. Therefore, we have shifted to a new policy. Policy is teachers have to come up with the recorded video lectures. They have to upload in the web. Okay, students can actually enter the video and go through those videos according to their suitable time. Later on, teachers will organize live sessions to explain those videos. Why? Because direct online access, the Bangladesh government still could not ensure for all these students, especially those who are outside the urban areas. That's the reality. Therefore, we can expect a new model to emerge based on the online teaching and learning even after the pandemic passes away. Now, the most important question, fundamental question is whether the adoption of online learning will continue to persist in the post-pandemic era. That means a lot of questions people ask. One day the pandemic might go away, hopefully, because of the vaccines. And scientists have been telling that human beings have been developing antibodies in their health, so which will help us to survive with the pandemic quite nicely, even without the vaccine. Fine. So let's imagine a scenario that pandemic has gone. We human beings have actually adjusted to the environment, fine, and we have gone back to the offline classes. But this new era of online teaching and learning, which we have been actually getting used to nowadays, will it exist? Will it persist? Or we totally get rid of it? This can be one important question. This has to be taken care of. And how such a shift will impact the worldwide education market, especially the higher education. So let's have a glimpse of some of the issues. Even before the pandemic came, there was already a high growth in the education technology global market, and the educational technology investment was by 2019 was already 17 billion US dollars by then. By 2025, it was projected to be 350 billion US dollar. So now we can imagine that the pandemic has come. Already there is a significant surge in the usage of online education technology. So what does it mean for the future learning? There are two streams of thoughts which are now going on in Bangladesh and probably I think in India as well, and also in many countries of the world. One stream of thought is the unplanned and the rapid move to online learning with no training of teachers, insufficient bandwidth, little preparation. This will not be conducive to sustainable growth. So we actually have to find out a way how to overcome this challenge first before we actually completely shift to online teaching. So which is a reality. Especially in my university, I want to tell you that we actually hurriedly shifted into online teaching, though the private universities in Bangladesh were much more advanced compared to the public universities. We have got 108 private universities compared to 54 public universities in Bangladesh. So compared to the public universities, the private universities by and large were quite a bit prepared regarding online version of teaching and learning. But however, we were not ready to face the challenges up to this extent. That is no doubt. That's a very big challenge. Our Bangladesh government, last time when they came to power, their slogan and the motto was Digital Bangladesh. And obviously, Bangladesh has become digital in many ways. But still, I would say very honestly that if we talk about the education sector, we were not still completely digital. We were basically, Bangladesh was surviving on offline teaching and learning. It is because of this pandemic that suddenly, all on a sudden, without any sort of preparation, we had to jump into this, all the discussions and the preparations of online learning. Therefore, it is quite an unplanned and rapid move. There is no doubt about it. So how would we bring to a sustainable growth and make it sustainable? That is an issue. Another stream of thought is in Bangladesh that in spite of all the drawbacks, okay, fine, we have all the drawbacks, a new hybrid model will emerge with significant benefits. And some examples are in our hand. Zhejiang University in China, they actually got 5,000 courses online within a span of 2 weeks. This is they did. The London Imperial College, they have actually started offering a course on the science of coronavirus, which is now the most enrolled course in all the UK universities. In our Bangladesh, the top leading private universities have also managed to shift most of their courses online despite the drawbacks and despite a hybrid kind of issues and lot of adjustments here and there. We have been able to jump into online teaching and learning, and students are actually coping with that. Now, this is also through the mindset. I must also add with Dr. Bhaskar Chaudhary that changing the mindset is a very important thing, but it is quite difficult for people like us, those who are actually belonging to offline stream of education. Suddenly the mindset has to be changed. That is difficult. But for the student community, for the younger generation, that has been quite interestingly sharp and very fast. And I must say, as a teacher, it is because of my student who rapidly shifted their mindset. I, as a teacher, have been compelled and I'm finding it quite easy and interesting to actually keep pace with them and feel the urge to change my mindset as well. So this is one issue, I must say, that younger generation actually takes little time to change the mindset. And I've seen one thing, that my son and my different colleagues' children, they have started their school, even the smaller children who have started their playgroup, kindergarten, class 1, they have started their school online. And I've seen their activity. Their concept of schooling is simply online. They don't know what is called offline schooling. They started their career online, and hopefully that generation will emerge who will be ready to take up the post-pandemic challenges much more better than our generation. That is interesting. So now, one of the challenges which we find in Bangladesh and also in many countries, even in countries like Australia and the USA, is this: the concept of digital divide. There is a significant gap between the privileged and the disadvantaged backgrounds of people. One group of privileged students have access to computer technology and a lot of things. Another group of students don't have it. So how to cope with this challenge of digital divide? This has now come into fore, and hopefully post-pandemic situation will teach us how to overcome this digital divide, and that will be a big challenge as well as an opportunity. Overcoming the digital divide. This is one. Another, I must point out, I'm trying to go a bit faster because actually your webinar has got a fixed time to finish. So I will hopefully finish within my original allotted time. So I'm sorry for that. Anyway, scholar and historian Yuval Noah Harari, he wrote a book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. This is his book. He actually focused in the book that maximum academic institutions all over the world have been focusing on traditional skills and rote learning, whereas the importance and the emphasis should now be on critical thinking skills and adaptability, which he thinks are more important for future success. Now, we are trying to shift into creative thinking, critical thinking, adaptability, but still there is a concern. Due to the hasty nature of online transition, will this goal be achieved? That is what we are also thinking in Bangladesh. That okay, fine. How fast can we jump into creativity and critical thinking? Because we were not ready for that. So post-COVID situation has given us a big challenge in front of us. And personally, I think, yes, human brains and human minds can work very spontaneously. They can work very fast. It will be a big opportunity for us even hastily, to jump into creative and critical thinking and adaptability. So that opportunity has come in front of us to embrace creativity and critical thinking and adapt ourselves to the changes of the holistic educational policy, which is now in front of us in the post-pandemic era. Okay, now some important point I must say, talking about the opportunities. While the primary, secondary, and the tertiary education faces its unique challenges, it is the higher education segment that may end up triggering a learning revolution. That is why today's seminar webinar is very important. We are talking about the higher education. The learning revolution will actually, hopefully, occur in this higher education sector because universities are distinctive in the sense that their students are old enough to handle the pressure of online work, and also technologically they are savvy to navigate new platforms. I just mentioned about my students that it is my student community who are more technologically, they are very savvy. They have actually got a wider access to all these technological issues. They are more into research, and they are pushing us, the teachers, to become technologically savvy as much as we can. That is what they are trying to do. Now there is still a concern in this case. Concern is, can traditional campus-based universities adapt by choosing the right technologies and approaches for educating and engaging all the students? We have to educate the group of students who are beyond the digital divide. A lot of students are not getting access to internet connections. They don't even have the computer. I sometimes see one or two of my students, they are doing the class under a tree. I said, why? Because they're saying that, sir, inside our home, there is no connectivity. So I have to come under the tree and I'm trying to do the class. They are actually accepting the changes and the challenges. So the thing is, how far the change situation will engage them, to what extent? At one point of time, they might also become uh, disengaged in terms of thing. Right now, the video conferencing apps like Zoom, WebEx, Google Meet, MS Team, Microsoft Team, they are actually providing the lifeline for online education. But I think there is an opportunity. The challenge is we're facing. We need to create some more creative online accessories, and probably the post-COVID scenario will give us that opportunity to develop some wider avenues of online teaching, which will incorporate the other environmental and the health and the other psychological issues that will bring under our higher education segment. As I told you, I am almost bringing my lecture in the end. Bangladeshi public universities are facing the biggest challenge nowadays. So they are trying to cope with the scenario. Private sector employees in Bangladesh, they prefer candidates passing out from private universities because they consider that they are more expert in the kind of challenges needed in the job market. Their mindset is more critical, creative, and they are more technologically savvy. So the whole Bangladesh needs a real digital revolution. And I think it is true for many parts of India as well. And a lot of Asian countries are also looking forward to that. And my final words is, to overcome the challenges of the pandemic era, but the University Grants Commission and the other authorities should come up with effective steps to train the teachers using the various resources available. Because my point is, it is now the teachers who are facing the greatest challenge to cope up with the new digital era. Their mindset has to be changed fast. We teachers are actually not that fast in actually coping with the scenario. And at one point, there is a lot of frustration as well. Things are not working properly. Say for instance, in many webinars, sometimes we can see these problems that connectivity is gone. So if this thing occurs in the classroom teaching, online classroom teachings, there is a bit of frustration from the teacher's portion. And I have seen my colleagues, they are not able to take the classes right on time. And finally, they are spending a significant time of their family time, into adjusting with this digital challenge. The mindset of the teachers must be addressed. So the government and the other agencies have the challenge to embrace this opportunity of training the teachers in changing their mindset. Online teaching learning can fashion a long overdue and a welcome rebirth of our education system. There's no doubt about it. So this is my final word, that probably this rebirth of education system was long overdue, and it should be a welcome rebirth. So let us embrace these challenges and go and look for the opportunities where we can embrace ourselves to further development and changes, and how human brain can be utilized at its best of ability to embrace the challenges of post-COVID era. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks to Dr. Fahim Hassan Saichar for an enlightening and illustrative presentation. He has asked us to embrace the challenges. Now, if there is any question to Saichar, I would like to request Hirakjyoti to put the question to Saichar.
Yeah, yes, we have found four key questions, I think, so, in the chat box. One is, since lockdown started, our faculty started online classes, but due to network issue, electricity issue, etc., that become not so fruitful for us. Our interest in from our study, how we can able to divert our mindset towards study.
Yeah, very good question. I also regularly face this question from my students. There is no plain and simple way. The thing is, our BRAC University, therefore, has actually come up with a new policy. The policy is they are following the Harvard and the MIT style. That is in the website. Teachers have to upload pre-recorded lecture videos, and students have ample time to actually look at those lecture videos, and finally they can contact the teacher through using the social media or the WhatsApp, and teachers can organize live sessions according to the convenience of the student. This is how we are trying to develop the motivation of our students. But of course, you are right, it is not only frustrating for the students, it is also frustrating for the teachers as well, because sometimes in the live sessions we are not getting this access to the connectivity, and it is actually a big challenge. But I would request you to self-motivate as much as you can. And Dr. Bhaskar Chaudhary has highlighted a very important point. It is not only the teacher who you should be looking to. Lot of other people, suppose Dr. Bhaskar Chaudhary, Dr. Pankaj Kumar Roy, Sri Krishna Barman, they are also enlightened. They have a lot of things to share with you. So students have the ample opportunity to actually explore other avenues, even if you don't get the teacher or the online classroom which was being scheduled on the right time. So you have to explore the different avenues and always charge, and motivate yourself. That is the only way I can find right now. Probably I don't have the better answer right now, because we have just entered the challenges of the pandemic era. It will take a significant amount of time to actually judge the pros and the cons of the scenario. Thank you.
Any other question?
Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hirakjyoti, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. If there is any question, to Shahid sir.
Yes,
Please
one more
put the
question.
question. Yes.
Are online classes possible in rural area due to lack of proper network connection, electricity?
So what was it? Yeah, what was your question? Kindly, can you repeat?
The
Repeat the
basic challenge in higher education now field study and collection of data from primary source. How can we solve this problem to a great extent?
Yeah, as I told you that we are still not in a position to overcome all the challenges. It will take a significant amount of time, maybe 5 to 6 months more, to actually get a real picture of the entire scenario. And by then, I hope lot of technological advancements will also take place. And probably we are just, suppose if you ask us, probably in India and Bangladesh as well, we are just in the first semester of online classes. So a lot of problems are being encountered. So as we go to the second and the third semesters, automatically by technological revolution and other developments, I think these problems will be overcome. Right now, lot of problems have got no solutions. That is what I find in our country.
Any question, WP?
Uh, Same question, sir. One more question, like how can possible to successful learning for remote area?
Yeah, there is a big problem. Let me give an example of our University of Dhaka, which is the oldest and the biggest public university in Bangladesh. Dhaka University still could not open or run the online classes because of the problem that majority of the students have who live in the rural areas or outside Dhaka have got no access to internet connectivity, number one. Then